are back from the Silver Creek Studios for another episode of Get a Load of This. I'm Jarod.
I'm Ryan.
God damn, I'm glad y'all set it off. Used to be down, now you just wet and soft. Heard you was down with the AK. Now you dancing around with the bitch called Michelle. Had it busted.
Kind of
And that's Joe.
petered out there
Joe.
at the end a little bit.
Well
done.
He said he was going to deliver,
did.
and he did. And yeah. So,
What are we doing this time?
well, we are going to talk about, your first whatever. So
This is the nostalgia.
Yeah, we're jumping in the Wayback Machine. We're gonna
A list of firsts.
Yeah,
If this sucks, blame it on Joe. This is my idea.
well,
I think it's a good idea.
Some things we come up with on the fly, and we're just like, yeah, that sounds like a good idea, and so we're gonna mosey down this path and see where it takes us. And if you've listened to any other episodes, you know that we usually don't stay on track very well anyway.
Yeah.
So most likely it'll be derailed.
Yeah,
in
by the end
in
of the
short
day, I'll
order.
be yelling at nerds again or something. Who fucking knows?
So we got a quick list here, but
I got a fresh drink, so we can do this.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So what was your first job, Joe?
My first job, I worked with my dad on the paper route. That was my first job, and it was
So you're like the
3/16.
classic American story of I had a paper route as a kid.
But it wasn't me on a bike. It was me fucking 2 a.m.
Chucking them out the side of your car.
shit out
Right.
on a Tuesday. But
That sounds brutal.
it was fun. Hey, I bought a waterbed and a big stereo out of that
Nice.
shit. So it was cool.
Pimping at 14.
Yeah, no shit. I had a room in the basement, and I was like, Dad, I'm setting this shit off. And he's like, well, whatever. You get paid a penny of paper, so do what you want. And I worked.
Was
for
that
the-
really what it was? A penny of paper?
It equaled out to that.
No shit.
I figured it up. I was like, for every time I touched a newspaper, no matter what I was doing with it, either rolling it or putting an insert in or whatever, penny of paper.
No shit.
Yeah, so
Well, that adds up.
it is. Yeah,
Clearly.
hell yeah. It
Work
adds up.
hard, kids.
Yeah,
you
well,
know.
see, that's the thing. This shit ain't out there no more. Nobody works
Right.
hard. No
Yeah.
more.
Well, and there's no paper delivery anymore
It
either.
was,
you know?
nothing was given. Nothing was given.
Right.
It was, and it's not. It was mini school money at the best, but it was good. And like I said, I saved up. I bought a waterbed. Had a queen size.
Started with a pack of gum, and all of a sudden you're moving up to a waterbed.
Yeah, I had a queen size waterbed in high school that I paid for myself, and I had a one of them big 5-disc Sony
Nice.
stereos
Mhm.
with the big speakers and everything. It's like
Yeah.
$800.
Right on.
Man,
I bought it myself.
There you
nice.
go.
Awesome.
But my first job was I worked at a Italian restaurant called Rosemarie's off West Florissant up in North County.
Yeah.
And cool job, kind of sucked. It's your first job. It's
Mhm.
Right.
it got screwed on a lot of things, but I learned what it was like to work for the man, so to speak.
Mhm.
Right.
My favorite job was the one after that. I worked at a grocery store. And if any kid could go and get a job in high school working at a grocery store, I highly recommend it. Now, it's different now than it was when I was there because you're not accountable anymore. I've been in grocery stores and it's a fucking terrible.
Yeah, well, they're all losing their jobs because they're getting replaced by self-checkers and stuff like that.
Well,
Nobody-
but no one wrangles carts. No one
Right.
bags
Yeah,
groceries. I bag
right.
my own groceries
Right.
at a high-end restaurant. Or
I
a
had
high-end
I had a
grocery
kid
store.
at Schnucks that I was, and I wasn't in self-checkout. I was in the real line.
Yeah,
And
didn't bag your shit. Stood there and probably stared at you.
yeah, and he and I think I started bagging my stuff, and he goes, oh, I'm glad you're doing that because I'm not a bagger. And I'm like, you were last
fucking-
week,
yeah,
jackass.
but-
I mean,
but you're
neither
a
am I.
But you're a fucking worker.
Yeah, I don't have my union card here to be a bagger. You know,
Shit. Yeah, I'm
you're
not
a hell of a lot closer than I am to being a bagger. I
Yeah.
have to put that shit in a bag.
right. I'm not 6'55" asshole, but
Yeah.
you are. How about you, Ryan?
My first job, well, my first unofficial jobs, I did some landscaping and odd jobs and stuff like
Yeah.
that. But my first real job where I got a paycheck and all that was also at a restaurant. I worked at Mendoza's Mexican restaurant, and I started off. I was a busboy at first, and then worked my way up to dishwasher. I don't know if that's up or down.
I'm not sure.
But I was dishwasher. I was everything. By the time I left there, I had done it. I had done everything. I was a cook. I wasn't old enough to be a bartender, but I was a bar back.
I did their books. I mean,
I
I
was,
did everything.
I was the accountant. No, but that was a fun gig too. But you smelled like a fucking chalupa every time when you came home.
Yeah.
You smelled
Did you
like
get
the
to
fryers.
take food home? Did you take some burritos home?
No, but I would always eat. I was always
I
fed.
ate at the,
Whatever you were busting off somebody's
I would eat at the grocery
No.
store too because, well, it's statute of limitations is over, so it's cool.
You're safe.
So if whatever I wanted, I would go to like the deli and there'd be like pre-made sandwiches. You just thumb right in it. Oh, this is junk.
This is damaged goods now.
Yeah, bag of chips. Whoop. Oh my god,
look
it
at
fell
that, blew
apart.
up and fell in my mouth.
Gallon of milk. Yep, cool. I never paid for lunch. Everything, yeah.
No, but the best thing about working at a restaurant is that you could, you're sitting around this food all the time. You don't want to eat the stuff that you're making. We made our own creations. We would twist things up and like, I'm going to try this. It's not on the menu. I'm going to throw this into that. And usually it was some pretty impressive stuff.
How about you, Jared?
My first kind of unofficial job, like you said, was I worked at a Christmas tree farm for just like a week during Christmas or whatever.
Was that cool?
It was kind of neat. I mean, it was cold, so that kind of sucked. But you would actually dig the tree out of the ground if they wanted. Some of them wanted it cut off. Some of them wanted the
ball.
The roots.
Mm-hmm. Oh, probably because they want to plant it after the season's over or whatever.
You gonna plant it in your living room first, though?
You'd wrap it in burlap.
Let all the worms crawl around your living room.
Yeah, but that was just kind of a temporary thing. The first real job I had was, I guess, right out of high school, summer after high school. Worked for a dry cleaners here in town. And it was just me and another guy. Maybe there was a third person that worked there, but it was a new dry cleaner. So the owner had this was his first business too. He had quit his job to start a business.
Nobody knew what they were doing.
Right. And so there was that whole excitement thing of like, wow, I'm starting a dry cleaners.
Every day.
And I'm going to hire a bunch of high schoolers who don't know what they're doing.
Fucking perfect.
And now there's no dry cleaners in the entire town.
Yeah. But in reality,
we got dry cleaners.
No, we don't. Not anymore. They're all gone.
We had the one that moved out by the strip mall there, the emos and all that. There was one there, but I don't think it's there. Yeah. But the scam of it was there was no dry cleaning going on. The guy would collect your clothes
and take
and
them to
drive them over to South County,
right? And
they'd dry clean them there, and then he'd charge $1 extra. He negotiated some deal on bringing them in bulk, and then he'd bring it back at the end of the day. And if you wanted it that day, same day cleaning, he'd drive it over and drive it back. It was kind of shitty.
That is fucked up.
But I mean, he made some money, and
a half-ass Ponzi scheme. Who'd you work for? Madoff?
Yeah,
Madoff dry cleaning.
It wasn't a dry cleaning business. It was just a delivery business of, of your dry cleaning. But,
or drugs.
So what did you guys do there? You just sorted through the shit when he brought it back?
We would go through your clothes and
try
take all the money.
Yeah, try them on. We would, you'd have to mark stains with a little sticker arrow thing. You'd have to bag it. Of course, you had to give them a receipt and ring it up, make sure it all went together, and keep track of it. I mean, you had to do the stuff you would do at a dry cleaners, except actually clean it. So I got a question for you. What's
there had to have been something, one customer or something that was like, oh my God, this is the stinkiest shit. This is the stinkiest clothes we've ever dealt with.
No, I don't recall dealing with that.
Really?
It was all,
smells
yuppies
like Missouri.
with their... Yeah,
it smells like South County.
It was people with their business shirts and their dresses that they had.
No nasty.
How about
it
cops?
wasn't nasty.
You ever do cops? Because they all get their shit dry cleaned.
I don't think we had any cops that I
recall.
I
see them all at the dry. Where I take some of my shirts to get dry cleaned, and every time I go pick them up, there's always military uniforms and there's always cop uniforms.
Do you go to Columbia?
No, I go up over in St. Louis. Oh.
But see, we were invading their turf, so there was an existing dry cleaner in town that did the dry cleaning here. And we were the new guys, so there was a little bit of tension.
So you're like the new donut shop that's pissing off everybody. Yeah.
It's like the Jet and the Sharks.
Yeah, small
but that was the
America.
first, real paycheck printed out and mailed to you or whatever. So that was my first job.
Oh, that's cool. Now, I talk about how bad things smelled. I also worked at a bank. I was a bank teller for a few years whenever I was in late high school. And being a bank teller is a pretty easy job. But we had one customer, it was Captain D's. And and nobody wanted to touch all the bags. The bags of money would be dropped in the night drop box, just like any of them or whatever. And they were all green. And they said,
except for theirs, tartar sauce.
No, theirs was black.
Ugh.
And it started
from the shitty
from
hands?
all the grease and all the shit.
That's awesome.
And you could smell it as soon as you opened up the vault or whatever, the box that all those the drop box. You would smell this rancid grease
nasty.
smell. And then no one wanted. We all would fight over. We do rock paper scissors to see who's going to have to count that that bag out, and everybody wanted to avoid it. After you were done counting that money, you couldn't get that smell off you. The rest of the day, you're smelling bad seafood.
Yeah.
Now, along those lines, when I was in college, I had a job valet parking at the casino over here in East St. Louis, Casino Queen. And that was the same way. You could pick out the customers that were nasty.
Yeah.
You knew them. They'd come back. They were the most common, most often customers there.
Right.
And you were just like, holy
I'm not
shit, this
driving that
chick's
car
Ford
again.
Aerostar minivan is disgusting. There'd be
Right.
buckets of chicken on the seat. And,
Oh,
it was
awesome.
just...
Did you eat the chicken?
No. Oh, my God, it was so
hell
disgusting.
Yeah, I'm eating chicken.
300 cigarette butts in there,
Nice.
ashes
yeah.
everywhere. It was nasty.
So what else we got on the
Yeah,
list?
what's next?
So what was? This is a good one. What's your first car? We'll start with Jarod.
My first car was an 85 Buick Regal that...
Hell yeah, G-Body.
It was the two-door.
Gangsta.
Yeah, except it wasn't quite gangsta because there were all the guys that had the Monte Carlo, the cool version
Yeah,
of
right.
it. And this
Oh,
was
Regals
like
are tight.
the
I like
yuppie
the
version with the, the
It was a little slightly
spoke hubcaps
more
and
well optioned.
the
version.
vinyl top. Yeah, it was like the velour blue velvety seats and it was not. I mean, at the time it was a
Dude,
cool car.
you're talking you ain't upsetting me at all. Keep going. I
Now,
love it.
It's a sought after
thing
car nowadays.
Hell
right, yeah.
I'd love to have that.
The thing about it was it was my sister's car first, and she wrecked it. She drove it into a drive-through Hardee's.
Nice.
She picked up some food, and her drink spilled, and she reached over to get it, and at the same time floored the throttle and jerked the wheel and smashed right into a Hardee's.
Nice.
And so there was about a 90-degree bend in the front end, radiator and everything was trashed. So eventually we got it fixed and repainted and all that, and you'd never know. But so that became my car after she wrecked it. And it was, cool enough
Fine
car.
vehicle.
Yeah.
Got you from point A to
Yeah.
point B.
First car.
How about you, Joe?
My first car was a 79 Trans Am,
Nice.
Jesus.
which I have another one rotting away in my garage.
That's not rotting away.
It's not rotting away.
It's sitting there waiting for some TLC.
It is.
So is this the one with the gold wheels and the bird on the hood?
It had a
and everything?
huge bird on the
Nice.
hood. It was yellow.
Okay.
It had a tan interior. It was a Golden Eagle edition. It was an awesome car. I mean,
Hell yeah, that's awesome.
I was.
Did it have T-tops?
No, it was a hard top.
Okay.
That was the only option it didn't have. But yeah, I mean, high school.
You were pimping.
Yeah,
Mhm.
until I hit a tree.
It's
It
never
fucked
good
it
for a
up,
vehicle.
but still rode it. I mean, it was a great car. It was a cool car, and
Now, was that something your parents got for you, or did you buy it with
I
work
bought
money?
it. I bought it.
Nice.
But going to buy a car, I love my father. He's a great man. I will always say that. So he would never. I mean, every car we went and looked, it was never good enough, and I would get so pissed, and we would scream at each other. We're like, "Dad, this fucking car is nice.
nothing
Why?"
wrong with
He
it.
goes, "It's a rotten piece of shit. We're not spending your money on that.
Mhm.
I'm not letting you do it."
Well,
And
he approved of the Trans Am, though?
Oh yeah, he was gonna buy it.
Oh, really?
If I didn't want it, he's like, if he didn't want it, he
Yeah.
was gonna buy it. And then right before that,
What engine did it have in it? 350?
403.
403.
403 old. Same thing I got in the other one I got at the house. Same car. It's the same car. Oh,
Yeah.
the one I have is a 10th anniversary, and it's all the bells and whistles.
Mhm.
So we went and looked at a 67 Camaro.
Oh, shit.
And okay, yeah, this is a great story. So we went and looked at a 67 Camaro. It had a brand new, fresh, rebuilt 283 motor and transmission, but it was a 327 car. He had the original 327 car, or 327 engine to go home with the car. Interior was immaculate. No torn seats, no nothing. Backseat looked like no one even sat in it. Automatic, buckets, console, everything, and it was that green, that 60s
Verdoro green, I
Yeah.
think is what they called it.
and it had a
At least that was
black
the Pontiac color, I think.
and it had a black vinyl top. Well, it was bubbling rust under the black vinyl top. And other than that, the car was beautiful.
Right.
And my dad's like, no, he wanted, I think he wanted $1,000 for the car. So
Can you imagine?
And so my dad offered him $800 of my money. He offered him $800, and the guy wouldn't buy. No, I need $1,000. I need $1,000. And we left. We left this car sitting there. And I found a Trans Am, and I was happy. Like 3 days after I bought my car, which I bought my car 5 days after I turned 16.
Wow.
This guy called my dad and said, "Hey,
I'll take that $800."
He goes, "I'll take $850 for that car," and he goes, "Yeah." He found something, so we bought that, and it's cool.
Tough shit, dude.
And so, but my dad was like, he was like, I wish I had a place to have put that car because, I could have got it. And he was like, it was a good car, and
just needed some work. Yeah,
just needed some work, but not a lot.
Right.
Wow. $850 for a '67 Camaro.
What's that worth today? I mean, it's
probably 20, 25. Yeah.
Ryan, what about you? What's your
mine
first
is
car?
not that exciting. Well, the first car that I had access to wasn't my car. I shared it with my mother. It was an '87 Pontiac Grand Am.
Okay.
And it was a 4-door, but it was a GT package. It was a nice car, and it was cool. It was a little too fast for me because I had a little bit of a lead foot, and I got a ticket doing 95 miles an hour in a 55
in a school zone.
Yeah, no, I was on the highway, and so they basically said, "Yeah, you're not driving again until we get you something with a little less pep." So then I got a '87 Mazda B2200.
Oh yeah,
extended cab, but that was the only option on the truck. It was a 2-wheel drive. It had
SE5.
SE5. It had the ugly stickers on the side of it.
Yeah, and, but you see, where I grew up,
those were sought after.
You
could put them on the ground.
You could lower them. You could lower them for next to nothing.
And every asshole I ever ran into was like, "Oh, we can lower that in like 10 minutes, man."
In 10 minutes, really. It's lowering blocks in the rear and just torquing down the torsion bars in the front.
I'm like, "No, we're not lowering it."
Everybody that had a B2000
B2 something,
B2000 Mazda, everybody put them on the ground.
But you know what? I challenge you to find one today that's in kind of a unmolested condition that they're not out there.
Well, unmolested. I got a guy I work with, and I'm going to see him at a car show in a couple of weeks. He's got a B2200. Awesome.
Is it original or is it lowered? It's dropped.
It's low. It's full air ride, but it's beautiful. And it's extended cab, and if you've seen this truck, you would lose your mind.
There was a guy that used to cruise Lindbergh that had a Mazda that was just like mine, but he lowered it, and he had way too much money apparently, but he cut out the back wall of the truck.
I did a walkthrough.
Yep, and he had it basically made it an SUV, but this thing was pimped out. He had a Nintendo in it. I mean, he had TVs and the best sound system. It was unbelievable.
Subs, a wall. Did they have a wall? Because I had
back wall was all speakers.
Yeah, I had a friend of mine did a walkthrough on his, and he had hydraulics on his, and he did 612s or 615s.
Yeah.
And it was
ridiculous.
And then his chairs back there were beanbag chairs.
Nice.
And that's cool,
belts.
Yeah.
And I wish, I kind of looking back, I'm like, I wish I'd done something more to it, but I didn't lower it. I did get it painted. Because it had these stripes on it that said SE5 and it was not, it was white, but it wasn't bright white. It was like this kind of shitty, whatever they call it, off white, and I wanted it to be white. So I had it painted Mako. I paid someone to paint it GM truck white, and it was bright white. And I tinted the windows, and I had a decent stereo in it, and that was my ride until I sold it. And but I do miss it. I wish I could find that same truck again, but they're not out there. I've looked around, and all of them are
you can find them. You look around.
Yeah,
they're
I'm not
out
looking
there.
that hard. I don't want one that bad. But if I was to stumble upon one that was in decent shape, I'd be all over it. But
you had to sell the Pontiac, though.
No, that's not going anywhere. I'm running out of garage space, though. That's for sure.
So what's next?
So here, what do we got?
We're gonna get a little emotional here.
All right.
Emotional.
What was your first kiss?
Ryan Davidson. It was about 9 minutes
supposed
ago.
to talk about that, man. Jesus.
All right, you go first, Ryan.
Well, so I remember her name. I think it was like 3rd grade. So this was not.
Wow, you're a whore.
Well, this wasn't like full on making out, tongues down throats and shit like that. But her name was Anne-Marie. I know her last name too, but I'll save that. She was Italian, and she was a new girl at school, and she was taller than every boy in class.
Well, that's how it went. Mine was a lot taller than me too.
Yeah. She was a giant. I mean, she was a very attractive young lady, but she was much taller than me. And it was in the front hallway of my elementary school, and then after that we like, I guess we dated. What are you doing, third, fourth grade, whatever the fuck it is, So we
hang out.
She was my girl, and so I think for maybe 2 weeks, and we went on a field trip together, and we sat next to each other on the bus, and never kissed her again because I was scared to death of it. The whole thing just terrified me. So I
feel sick. I feel sick.
Yeah, the first like real kiss, the French kiss or whatever was several years later, and to be quite honest with you, it made me have an upset stomach for about 2 days.
Oh yeah.
Afterwards, I was like, "What the hell did I just do? That was disgusting."
That's
funny.
I didn't think of that. Yeah, the first time you like open mouth kiss, or the first time you kissed. So, would you like to go next?
I can go next. Sure.
All right.
Yeah, I'm not going to use her name, but she was a little bit short. I guess I kind of like them short, I guess, as it seems to be.
You like the petite girls, yeah, sure.
Yeah, and I was, admittedly completely inexperienced, just a rookie, and I did the lean down, lean in. Again, she's shorter than me.
Sure.
We both closed our eyes, and I missed.
I kissed her
nose.
Kissed
her on the nose.
I kissed her brother.
Oh, God.
He was there. I missed.
Completely missed it.
Oh, it was embarrassing.
But, she had to walk him home.
Yeah. So that was my first one.
Mine. So mine was, it got like hyped all day. Is me and another buddy of mine, Mike was his name. And he was going to kiss his girl. I was going to kiss my girl. Her name was Pam. And big, tall, not big. She was lanky. She's like olive oil. But she was a pretty girl. I was happy to be a part of it. And at recess, we're making out.
Happy to be there.
And so we get out there, and I'm nervous. I need to piss nervous. And we get out there at the end behind the slide so no one can see. And fucking my buddy Mike just goes at his like he'd done it before. And I was like, geez, man, we even made out your pillow or something? This is rough. I had to fucking
practice it.
Yeah, no shit. Yeah, there's a lot of watermelons that have been licked in his ass in his mouth, in his house.
Yeah.
Anyway, So I'm looking at Pam, and I'm like, all right, we're going to do this. And she's like, yeah, we're going to do this. And so we kissed. And do it again. I'm like, all right, yeah. Well, I did. I liked her. She was an attractive girl but mine was 5th grade.
Yeah.
And the first time I ever open mouth kissed a girl was 7th grade, and her name was Araceli.
Wow.
Yeah. Oh. This was a.
Is that a good O?
Yeah, she was. Well, I knew her in grade school, and we were friends. We were just friends,
right?
And then in like 7th grade, we had a couple classes together.
Araceli sounds exotic.
She was a Mexican girl.
Oh, really?
And yeah,
I wouldn't have thought that with that name, but I'm with you.
Yeah, I'm not gonna say her last name.
I got you. Yeah.
And yeah, we started dating, so to speak, or whatever you do in 7th grade.
Right.
I asked her to the dance, or whatever. Right. And I knew her.
That was loud. Sorry.
And I mean, I knew I had gone to like her 5th grade parties for her birthday, and I knew her brother, and her brother had a 79 W30 Cutlass, T-tops, everything. Yeah. It was beautiful. And I rode in it and everything. It was cool, super cool. They're good people, and she was. But yeah, so that was the first time, and we did it in front of like this. I was walking her home, and we got to about halfway, and we started kissing in front of these people's homes. And it was ridiculous. Right. Like there's 2 perverts out front just making out, and that's how it went. So yeah.
Now I do remember the first time I kissed my wife. Now we dated in high school, so we were in high school, and we were at like a basketball game, high school basketball game. And we're out in the hallway, not watching the game or whatever.
She's short too. Did you kiss her on the nose?
Right. No, I learned my lesson.
Hit the target. Hit the target this time.
Yeah, and I don't remember how long we'd been dating, a few weeks or whatever, but some little kid, it was like somebody's younger brother or whatever, was hanging around being annoying and was like, have you guys kissed yet? And I'm not even sure we had even thought about it or realized it or whatever. And we kind of looked at each other like, no, we haven't actually. And he was like, you should kiss her. And so we just kind of like,
it's a great idea, kid.
Right, yeah.
I'm going to do it.
Yeah. I need you to be my midget. Get in that pocket and let's go. Yeah. You're with me forever.
You're the king of great ideas.
I am now Fantasy Island and you are Tattoo.
So we leaned in and it was this, pathetic peck. But afterwards we were like, you know what? That really wasn't that great of a first kiss. So we went off in the band room and made out for half an hour or whatever. But yeah.
Teacher held the camera and everything.
That's right. Oh, Jesus. All right, what's next?
Oh, that's a good one. The whole wife thing. I kissed mine the first night I met her.
Nice. Jeez.
Yeah.
I believe I kissed my wife the first night I met her too.
Wow, gosh, I was pathetic.
Well, but you met her in
You're a gentleman,
like shot glass freshman year. A little different.
And he's a little bit more of a gentleman, I think, than we are probably.
Yeah, truly.
So moving on. On the list, I don't know, not necessarily this order. We'll stick with this one. When's the first time you felt like an adult? The first thing that happened in your life where you felt like
well, I have
shit, I'm an adult.
Go ahead.
First time I really felt like I was fucking running things, like getting it. I was broke, and it was me and Mama. We weren't even me and Mama. It was me and girlfriend, and needed tires. I needed tires on the car, and there was just money in the account. We went to NTB.
You were able to make it happen,
and just drove in. It was like, hey, we need tires, and it's not like it was an issue. And we just drove in and pulled up, and like, this is gonna happen, and we're buying tires, and it's
that's a very grown up thing to do.
It is, yeah. And this asshat's like, it's gonna be $398. I don't know what it was.
Right.
It's probably about that or something.
Yeah.
And
you're able to make it happen.
I was making it happen.
Yeah. Nice.
Cut a check to Callahan Brakes. And we did, and we drove out with new tires, and they were bought and paid for, and they're ours. And
it feels good when you do shit like that.
I said it. I remember saying it that day. I was like, I feel like a fucking adult doing it. This is the first
But
time.
now we look back on stuff, the money that we spent when we were kids, like, God, I wish things cost what they used to cost. And now it's like, everything's so, I don't know. It's just,
speaking of that,
it does still feel good to roll out with new tires or with, we just get something done to your car.
I just bought new tires for my show car, which was nice. But speaking of that, cutting grass. People that cut grass get like $35 to cut your yard now.
Right. Yeah.
$35 to cut your yard now.
I know.
Dude, I thought I was robbing motherfuckers at 15 when I was doing it.
I'm thinking of starting a new career.
No shit. Grass is
you get a reason to buy a trailer. You buy a nice 0-turn mower,
Yeah. Hey, I'll start doing this now.
It's all deductible.
What about you, Ryan? When was the first time you felt like an adult?
Well, this is an interesting question because I can look at it a couple ways. Like, the first thing that popped into my head was a purchase. So my parents, I was in college, and my parents had moved into a new house. They bought this house, and it had a room that was perfect for a pool table, but they didn't have a pool table, and I had money. Because I
bought a pool table,
and I bought a pool table, and they still have it. Now it's a different house; it's been moved to a new house, it was I didn't fuck around, man. I went to
this wasn't like a Walmart special.
No. I was a
ping pong on one side.
No. This was
at you. That's fucking boner.
It's still a really nice pool table, except for one of my kids dropped something on it at Christmas time. Someone I think a ladder or something fell against it. And they put a ding in the. But up until that, it was in perfect condition.
But as long as the slate's good, who gives
the slate's
a shit?
solid, and it's a beautiful table. It's very ornate, and it's cherry wood. It's got green felt. It's a beautiful table, and I still kind of treat it. And I've owned it. It's never been in my house though.
Wow.
It stays with my parents. So I kind of bought it for them. But that whenever I went into A.E. Schmidt Billiards and I said, I want to buy a pool table and this is what I'm looking at, and I had done some research and I looked at catalogs and I picked out every detail of it and I said, deliver to this house. And I was at college and I came home from college the next time I visit and there it was.
Mm-hmm.
All
so
set up. They set it
oh,
up.
Yeah. I paid for delivery. I paid for everything. I had it all.
Did they shake your hand? Be like, "Welcome to the A. Schmitz family."
Yeah, no, well, I wasn't there. My dad just took care of it.
You weren't there.
No, I was at college.
Oh, okay.
I came home from college, and I said, "Yeah,
I'm out earning my keep, Dad. Let the pool table get set up."
But I didn't want that. I didn't want them to be trouble with it. But so the backstory to that is that my uncles had actually done a similar thing for my grandmother and grandfather whenever they were about the same age or whatever. They bought a pool table for their. And
So you knew that, and were you thinking that when you did it?
I kind of thought it.
Ryan
Yeah.
saved up. Like, I got to buy a pool table.
No,
it's my
it wasn't
heritage.
that. It was that.
So when are your kids going to buy you a pool table?
Well, when I have a basement big enough to hold one.
Yeah, I was going to say you'd have to
my
throw shit
basement.
out.
Yeah, I got to rearrange things in order to make it fit down
And
there.
possibly tear down a wall.
Probably knock down a couple walls. But the first time, so I said I'd look at this a couple different ways. The first real adult moment was the first time I lost my job when I was a homeowner.
Oh, right.
I had a I don't know if I had a kid or not. Yeah, maybe she was pregnant. But I owned a home. I had 2 car payments. I had real adult shit going on, and I lost my job. I got laid off. Not fired, but laid off. But there was that oh shit moment. Like, well, I have a lot of fucking commitments here, and I got to figure out how I'm going to make this work. That was a big eye opener. But on most days, I don't feel grown up. I tell to people all the time now. I'm mid 40s, and most days wake up and I need a reminder that, like, shit, you got 3 kids, and
I'm still in my
here.
early 40s, and mid 40s, asshole. You're still early.
Yeah, what do you call when does mid start? Next year? I'm 43.
Yeah.
I'm 43.
Next year's 4, 5, and 6 is mid.
Hold on a second. You're telling me I'm still in my early 40s?
Early 40s.
Oh fuck, I'm getting drunk tonight.
Yeah, early 40s.
I'm a young man.
Yeah.
I got a whole new lease on life.
Oh, there it is. But I'm with you. The first time I lost my job, because I've been fired. I've been fired from the profession I'm in, and that's just the world I live in. But
right.
I was laid off and when I first knew I was getting laid off, I told my bride. She was my bride then too. She was like mad at me. I'm like, fuck, this isn't me doing this. This isn't. This is just happening to me.
Shit happens, yeah.
And we had an argument, not really an argument or not. Anyhow, I come out of my car that day. I come out to my car that day, and I had an '85 Cutlass that I bought from my grandmother. It was a beautiful car.
It's just like your Buick.
Yeah. And on the windshield was a note that she wrote to me that I still have today.
Oh, look at you sentimental fuck.
And she's just like, we're going to be fine. Things are good. Love you and shit like that. It's a cool note, but, and she's speaking like.
But that was the realization that.
It was I think she was realizing, but she drove to my work and put that on my, and it was my last day walking out. And I never turned back, and I realized from there, you work hard.
You keep plugging away, man. You got to
keep busting ass, keep doing what you got to do.
We haven't covered you yet, have we?
Yeah, mine's not as emotional or cool as that, but so like I said, my wife and I dated when we were in high school and through college. So when I was a kid, my family would go down to Tennessee to visit my grandparents, and every summer and holidays and all that stuff. So when I was in college, my wife and I drove down, just the two of us, and it's like a 4.5 hour drive or whatever. So this was before GPS and smartphones and all that stuff. You just had to know how to get where you were going, but so it was like taking a trip without your parents, right? Going on a fairly lengthy trip on your own, visiting the grandparents, staying in a room by yourself or whatever, right? So that was, in the grand scheme of things, looking back, it's like, well, I wasn't really an adult at that point, but you felt like it at the time. It was like, okay, now I'm getting somewhere. So anyway, that was my first time. Well, all right, we got a little bit of time left. Let's do another one.
We'll do one more.
What do we got? Pick a good one.
Let's see. Well, next on the list is your first fight. And when we say fight, we're talking not like a fight with a girl. We're talking like you either got punched or you punched somebody.
Now, I'll go first because I got to say, I've never been in like a legit knockdown, drag out fight. I've had the the whole like schoolyard, kind of thing that
Tussle.
never really turns into much.
Right.
Yeah.
Bunch of dancing around and
Yeah, I think it was like 8th grade or something, and somebody told somebody else that I could kick their ass or whatever,
Right.
and I was like, no, I didn't say that, or whatever.
What me?
Yeah.
Give me your math homework.
Yeah.
I'll do it for you.
There wasn't really much going on there, but no, I've never been like in a in a bar fight or whatever.
Yeah.
I had to take a beating from somebody. Maybe after a few more drinks tonight. But
That would be.
Yeah.
That
Well,
would
we're
be
about to throw down.
I was going to
Kind of
say
pissing me off tonight, Jared.
it would be terrible if your first fight was a bar fight. You need.
Yeah.
No, you need to go through some proving grounds before you
yeah.
get into bar fight.
Yeah, I mean,
Right,
I've had
yeah.
like wrestling with a brother or a friend that you get mad at, and you're just
Yeah.
like, but you never really,
So
what
you've
about
never
you?
Come to
So hold on a
blows.
second. You've never taken a punch to the face.
Wow.
I don't think so. I mean, no, we've done in boxing, like with boxing
No, I'm
gloves
talking
and
like
bloody
bare
nose,
knuckle.
but no,
You've never taken
I
a
don't think
punch to the
so.
face.
I've had my head kicked through drywall. So,
I haven't had that, but
Yeah.
I have been
That
punched in
was-
the face on
Wow.
several occasions.
Was that your first fight, or
No,
was it?
no, that
okay,
was
what
a-
was your
that was
first
a-
fight?
So my first fight, which I really can't. I mean, I'd have to go back to like probably my neighborhood for like a first fight,
Right.
and it was all my neighborhood was full of boys. I mean, for a little girl, they would have sucked. But it was full of boys, and we fought, and there was no diplomacy in kickball or Indian ball. We play every morning. We'd all get up all summer long, every day, every moment we went outside, and we all played sports all the time. Whatever it would be either kickball or dodgeball or fucking anything.
Kick the can.
Or football
Right.
or baseball or anything. And there were, every house, I grew up in a predominantly Catholic area, so every house had 4 or 5 boys. And
Mm-hmm.
and yeah. So, but when there was an argument or a stipulation, like, oh, he's fucking safe. Oh, yeah? No, he's not. He's
I'm gonna
out.
kick your ass.
And it would never be like, I'm going to kick your ass. It would be arguing, and the next thing was wham! You just hit somebody. You
Right.
just-
Mm-hmm.
or they'd hit you. And there was a hierarchy to it, and it was all set by, hey, you're going to end up pissing him off. He's going to fucking hit you, and he knows he's going to
schoolyard
do it.
rules, man. Yeah, everything goes.
But if I was going to say my first fight is probably in high school, where there was a I don't want to take up too much time, so I'll go real quick with this. I had a buddy of mine. We were at his house. We walked out of his house, and it was Christmas time, and somebody had stolen all the Christmas lights off his house. Like, drug. They were doing it when we were walking out of the house. We caught them, so we chased them, running down. I wasn't as fast as the rest of my soccer playing friends. They caught him, tackled him. I'm chugging along like a fucking freight train. Hoo. He's got him down. He's trying to see who it is. I come and I full on kick this motherfucker in the back of his back, and his tailbone. Shattered his tailbone. He had to go to therapy over it. And kicked him and my buddy out into the street. And he's like, fuck, I was trying to see who he is. I don't know who this is. He goes, fucking thief. So
It's your brother, Joe.
And he's like, he's a fucking thief, so he is. Well, he ended up being somebody who was in a gang, quote unquote gang.
Right.
And so then it turned into me and my buddies were against him and this gang. And
Bloods and the Crips, right?
Sort of. It was more like me and 6 guys against like 30 fucking idiots.
Right.
But these guys were all lightweight, so most of them, they never even would. They just wouldn't mess. They bullshit. But the fucking one guy, he was a maniac. He was a fucking maniac. I was like, I do not want to deal with this guy.
The guy whose spine you broke?
No.
Oh, okay.
No.
Did he
His
ever
buddy.
come back?
Yeah. Yeah, he was. I'm cool with both of them. I got cool with both of
Well,
them.
that'd be hard to get over, man.
But-
If someone broke my fucking tailbone, I'd
But,
have a hard time coming to grips with that.
Oh, yeah, he had worse issues after that though.
Wow. Well,
He got hit with a baseball bat, full swing.
Sounds like that guy just was asking for shit.
Well,
yeah.
he's just this is the world we lived in.
Yeah.
So his buddy Tony ran this little bullshit, the crew,
Right.
and Tony dead set against me. He so it was me against him, and it was a problem for probably 2 weeks, and then he dropped out of school, and I'm like, bet At least I don't have to deal with this asshole
right.
at school. Showed up the next day, and we fought at school. And we're in the bathroom and everything, and we're swinging and everything and getting it, and we go out into the hallway. This guy tormented my life. It was ridiculous. And I had him, and he dead to rights. He'll say it too. We get to wrestling around, and I dropped, and he kicked me in my side about 3 or 4 times, and I pull myself up off of his jacket, and I'm standing there. I grab him and put him in like this suplex hold and start picking him up, and I was going to like atomic drop him or whatever.
Oh, shit.
And I was like, I in my mind, I even thought, I'm going to kill this man. I'm going to kill him here. I'm going to snap his neck because I had it all in my knees, and his feet are kicking everything. And the teachers showed up, and they come around the corner, and I just threw him down. And I backed up because, by that time, I was all about legalities. I knew what the police did and the cops did and shit like that.
Paint a picture for everybody if you haven't figured it out. Joe's a large person. So I can
so,
easily picture him throwing something like, oh, well,
so
I'm
I
done
threw
with
him
this
down.
like
Well,
a
then
rag doll.
he got up and he fucking hit 2 teachers, and I was like, wow. So then, and the teachers had me pinned back, and it turned into a big old thing. And they arrested him because he wasn't supposed to be there because he had dropped out.
Oh, sure, yeah.
And that was the whole thing. So that was probably my first big, huge fight. Like people, I mean, if I was sitting around people from high school, they would still know that fight.
Right.
So.
Yeah, well, that's a doozy. I can't compete with that.
Oh yeah, well, but yeah, I'm an idiot.
This kid in the neighborhood that well, we were. Here's the thing, we were best friends. Through I don't know, 1st grade through 6th grade. He was a year older than me, but we were part of a group that just always hung out together. And we were the same way. Played football, played baseball, played whatever we could figure out. What we could get enough kids to play, and almost once a week. Andrew and I would be fighting about something. And Andrew, because Andrew would just pop off at the mouth, and
you got to check it.
And I don't allow that.
Right? 2 alphas.
So we would end up, and was never really throwing punches or whatever. It was just kind of wrestling around, like, oh, you're a pussy. No, you're a pussy. Whatever. And it was that kind of shit. I think it wasn't until high school we did that through high school. We got in fights from like 1st grade through 10th grade, and then finally we realized, like, this is fucking stupid. We should start just hanging out and being buddies, because most of the time, like 85% of the time, we were friends, but it was just like once a week or once a month, we'd just have a fight. And but yeah, that fight in high school was the first time that either one of us really threw a punch at each other. And rest of it was just like knocking each other down and wrestling around and shit like that. But he was a high school wrestler, and he was a state champion and shit like that. He would give me to the ground every time, and I'm done. I'm like a turtle on my back. I'm like, well, this is unfair. You're trained. I'm just an idiot. But yeah, my first black eye, first time I got punched, I was on a school bus. And again, I was mouthing off to somebody. And not to say that I deserved it. The guy was an asshole. Matt Rogers, you're still a fucking asshole, I'm sure.
But as long as you subscribe.
Yeah, no, fuck him. No, I don't know. I don't have any ill will against the guy, but he was an asshole. He was an asshole. Then he's probably an asshole now. But I don't even know what I said to him, but I said something to him, and he sucker punched me. He tapped me on the shoulder or whatever, and I turned around and he blasted me in the eye. And I had to go to the basketball game that night and play a basketball game with a black guy, and of course everybody's like, what happened to you? Oh, Matt punched you? And by the way, Matt was on the same basketball team.
Nice team camaraderie.
Yeah, he's an asshole. But I think that was my first black eye, and then I don't know that I ever really got many more black eyes, but I got hit a lot. I'm a mouthy son of a bitch.
I've noticed. Yeah. Hey, I've got my ass kicked. Like I said, I've been in high school fights to where we beat some ass, and then, like I was telling you guys off the air, I was in a high school fight where I got my head kicked through drywall. So, I mean,
now you look back.
The thing of it is people need real. You win some, you lose some, but you live. You live to fight another day.
Right.
So,
yeah, Rocky.
That's actually from Friday, but.
Well, it was Rocky says keep punching, right? Yeah, just keep punching. No, I don't think. I don't think kids today fight like we did. I mean, at least in our neighborhood, they don't.
Well, hell no. There's too much diplomacy there.
Right,
I mean, they would sit down and have a fucking legal axe, and there's a gavel.
But I think I would love to hear that there's like, oh my God, there was a brawl. There was after school brawl, and
I think they just Snapchat now.
Call each other names over Snapchat.
Some of them kids get bouted at lunch, man. Them kids go fucking crazy.
Well, Maybe
the girls are crazy. That's the ones that are they're nuts.
Are they throwing punches?
Hell yeah, and windmill style. They don't even care. they ain't going for tactics. They're just swinging. They're just trying to knock somebody
hoping
out.
to grab some hair. And,
they don't care.
Man.
Like they'll try to square off and go 1-2, 1-2.
Well,
no.
I'm a firm believer that every young man should be punched in the face.
Well, it sets you right.
Yeah, you get punched in the face one time, you realize it will change the way you talk to everybody. Once you get hit square in the face with a closed fist by an adult,
right in a jaw. Well,
yeah.
I don't know.
Not even an adult, but someone your same size. Your same size.
A 12-year-old with another 12-year-old, or
right.
a 12-year-old. I remember I got hit in the jaw by a high school kid when I was 12. He didn't believe I was 12. I was a big kid, He's like, I was fucking with somebody, and he's like, I know this kid. Why are you messing with him? I said, because he's a fucking nerd. That's why I'm messing with him. And he goes, well, who the hell are you? And I'm like, fucking me. I don't know what to tell you. And so then him and his buddies surrounded me, and I was like, I'm screwed.
I'm done. Yeah.
And he goes, how old are you? And I'm 12. He goes, you ain't 12. I go, I'm 12. And he goes, well, you ain't 12 now. And then his buddy pushed me, and the other one came around and hit me in the mouth. And I was like, damn. And it hurt. And it hurt like a day. And he goes, you need to kiss this dude's toes.
Oh,
the guy I was fucking with, he goes, you need to kiss this dude's toes. And
Please tell me you didn't.
And I looked at the dude, and I goes, you're going to have to hit me a lot more before I kiss anybody's toes. And he goes, so you ain't going to kiss his toes? I said, fuck no, I ain't kissing this dude's toes. I said, swing on. We'll just get it.
Yeah.
And
man,
I was going to take it. I was like,
take a beating before I was just going to.
I was going to take an ass whooping.
What's that movie where they make him lick the white poop? Was that?
That's the white dog shit. That's Step Brothers. The only other time I ever had one like that too was these dudes. Me and my buddy, my first good friend, we messed with these dudes driving by. We threw shit at their car or something, and we had it coming.
Yeah, sure.
And then we ran in my backyard and we're hiding. And these dudes jumped our fence and were looking for us in my backyard. Well, we weren't hiding really well. I mean, and they found us. And he was like, we're going to beat your ass and everything. And my buddy, he's a chiropractor now, and he wasn't much of a fighter at best. I said, I would always tell him, why you start shit when you know you're not going to work your way out of this?
There's always that one guy. I had a guy like that too. He would always stir up shit.
And these dudes jumped my fence, and they ran back there, and they were squaring off with us and everything, and just a lot of shoving, not a lot of anything. And I remember they had a Zelda, the gold Zelda game from Nintendo.
Yeah,
you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Well, they had it. They just had it. And I stomped that motherfucker, and I was like, you ain't playing this motherfucker today. And they turned into that shoving stuff. And
we got a movie here. I think we got the makings of a movie script here.
They jumped the fence.
And this is just the beginning.
And they jumped the fence back over. Because they had their car like parked halfway in our yard, in my parents' yard. And they're like, we gotta go. You know, I stomped that fucking tee. I was like, you ain't playing Zelda tonight, motherfucker. I know that.
Well, Jesus.
Well, we could get into a whole lot more.
We covered a lot of
firsts.
ground there. We covered a lot of ground. And we were worried about this. We know we got enough to talk about. Clearly we do.
We got a whole other list. We could do part 2.
We'll do another episode of the second episode about firsts and at another date. But until then, make sure you check us out on the social media avenues at Load This Podcast on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. Send us an email, loadthispodcast@gmail.com. And
please subscribe.
Yeah, subscribe. Tell your friends. Like us, all the stuff that you're supposed to do.
Tell your friends we're going to fucking beat your ass.
yeah. Well, not Jared, because he's a kind soul. But if anybody wants to volunteer to give Jared the first blow to his face,
thanks.
Because we can't do it. We're colleagues here. But we'll definitely take bidders.
Nice.
Oh, we got to set it all up though. He can't see it coming.
Well, no, we got to sneak up on him. Yeah.
It'll probably be at work. I'll be walking on the hall.
Bam! It's all Jared's coworkers. We're taking bids.
Stay away, Rick.
All right.
Until next time, I'm Jared.
I'm Ryan.
And Jared's a made man, so don't fuck with him. This is Joe.
Get a load of this.